George Fox is associated with the founding of which religion? The Religious Society of Friends, Quakers. George Fox was an English dissenter and a central figure in the founding of the Religious Society of Friends, commonly known as Quakers, in the mid-17th century. Quakers are known for their pacifism, simple lifestyle, and emphasis on direct communion with God. Singapore is connected to the mainland by a causeway that runs across which stretch of water? Straits of Johor. The Johor-Singapore Causeway connects the city of Johor Bahru in Malaysia to the town of Woodlands in Singapore, spanning across the narrow Straits of Johor. This vital link serves as a primary land route for transportation and trade between the two nations. Which civilization left clearly identifiable traces dating from 2600 BCE, with cities on what are now the Yucatan Peninsula, Guatemala, Honduras and southern Mexico and still survives in language today? Maya. The Maya civilization was a Mesoamerican civilization developed by the Maya peoples, known for its sophisticated writing system, art, architecture, mathematics, calendar, and astronomical systems. Flourishing in the region encompassing southeastern Mexico, all of Guatemala and Belize, and parts of El Salvador and Honduras, the Maya culture significantly influenced Mesoamerica. What is the British group of islands in the South Atlantic that consist of two main islands, together with 776 smaller ones? Falkland Islands. The Falkland Islands are an archipelago in the South Atlantic Ocean, located on the Patagonian Shelf. A British overseas territory, they consist of East Falkland and West Falkland, along with 776 smaller islands and are known for their wildlife and historical significance, particularly the 1982 Falklands War. Which country, from the 15th century onward, established control over territories such as Ceuta, North Africa, Madeira, the Azores, Goa, India, Brazil, Ormuz, in the Persian Strait, Malacca, now part of Malaysia, and Macau, China? Portugal. Portugal was a pioneering maritime power in the Age of Discovery, establishing a vast colonial empire from the 15th century. Its control over strategic ports and territories across Africa, Asia, and South America facilitated global trade routes and the spread of its influence. Which highly contagious disease, characterized by the sudden onset of chills, headache, delirium, and fever, followed by a rash, is caused by a bacterium transmitted by lice? Typhus. Typhus is an acute infectious disease caused by Rickettsia bacteria, transmitted to humans primarily through the bites of infected body lice, fleas, or mites. It has historically caused epidemics, particularly in conditions of poor hygiene and overcrowding. In Scandinavian folklore, which mythical creatures are typically depicted with evil powers and malevolent dispositions? Trolls. Trolls are prominent mythical beings in Scandinavian folklore, often portrayed as large, ugly, and dangerous creatures living in isolated areas like mountains or caves. They are frequently associated with malevolence and magical powers in traditional stories. Which city, chosen in 1935 to replace Livingstone as the capital of the British colony of Northern Rhodesia, is now the capital of Zambia? Lusaka. Lusaka became the capital of Northern Rhodesia in 1935, succeeding Livingstone, due to its more central location and favorable climate. Following Zambia's independence in 1964, Lusaka continued to serve as the nation's capital, growing into a major economic and governmental hub. What is the light-sensitive lining membrane at the back of the eyeball, connected to the optic nerve, which functions as the receptor surface for visual images? Retina. The retina is a crucial part of the eye, containing photoreceptor cells, rods and cones, that detect light and convert it into neural signals. These signals are then transmitted to the brain via the optic nerve, enabling vision. In which city is the historically significant building known as the Bastille located? Paris. The Bastille was a medieval fortress in Paris, France, used as a state prison. Its storming on July 14, 1789, marked a pivotal moment in the French Revolution, symbolizing the end of the Bourbon monarchy's oppressive rule. What is the name of the branch of the Pacific Ocean between China and Korea? Yellow Sea. The Yellow Sea is a marginal sea of the western Pacific Ocean, situated between mainland China and the Korean peninsula. It is named for the sand particles that give its water a yellowish hue, particularly from the Yellow River. An aircraft flying at 40,000 feet can be heard to break the sound barrier when it achieves a speed of how many miles per hour? 60. An aircraft breaks the sound barrier when its speed exceeds the speed of sound, also known as Mach 1. While the exact speed of sound varies with altitude and temperature, being approximately 660 miles per hour at 40,000 feet, 600 miles per hour represents an approximate threshold for this phenomenon in such contexts. What was the acronym for the organization that was set up in 1950 to coordinate the armed forces of NATO? SHAPE. SHAPE stands for Supreme Headquarters Allied Powers Europe. Established in 1950, it serves as the central command of NATO military forces, responsible for the operational planning and execution of alliance missions. What does the Japanese word, kamikaze, mean? Divine wind. Kamikaze is a Japanese word meaning divine wind. Historically, it refers to the typhoons that protected Japan from two Mongol invasions in the 13th century, and famously, during World War II, it was used to describe suicide attacks by Japanese military aviators. Why was Los Angeles selected as the host of the 1984 Summer Olympic Games by the IOC session at Athens, Greece, without a vote? It was the only city that submitted a bid to host them. Los Angeles was the sole bidder for the 1984 Summer Olympic Games, as other potential host cities withdrew due to concerns over the financial burden of hosting. This unprecedented situation led to its selection by the International Olympic Committee, IOC, without a competitive vote. What is the capital of the state of California? Sacramento. Sacramento is the capital city of the U.S. state of California. It is situated at the confluence of the Sacramento River and the American River in the northern part of California's Central Valley. When is a barium meal given to someone? Before an X-ray examination of the digestive system. A barium meal is a medical diagnostic procedure where a patient ingests a barium sulfate solution, a radiocontrast agent. This substance coats the lining of the esophagus, stomach, and small intestine, making them visible on X-ray images to help diagnose various conditions. What object, containing 14 lines of hieroglyphs, 32 of Demotic, and 54 of Greek, was crucial for deciphering ancient Egyptian writing? Rosetta Stone. The Rosetta Stone is a famous artifact discovered in 1799. Its trilingual inscription provided the key to understanding Egyptian hieroglyphs, unlocking ancient Egyptian history and culture for modern scholars. Sirhan Sirhan was convicted for the assassination of which prominent political figure? Robert Kennedy. Sirhan Sirhan was convicted of assassinating Senator Robert F. Kennedy on June 5, 1968, in Los Angeles, California. Kennedy, a leading Democratic presidential candidate, was shot shortly after winning the California primary, marking a tragic event in American political history. If one heard the phrase, "morituri te salutant," during a contest in the 1st century AD, where would they most likely be? Watching a Roman-staged naval battle or gladiatorial contest. The Latin phrase, morituri te salutant, meaning, "those who are about to die salute you," is famously associated with gladiators addressing the Roman emperor before combat. It reflects the life and death stakes of spectacles like gladiatorial contests or staged naval battles, naumachia, in ancient Rome. According to the well-known proverb, what is considered mightier than the sword? The pen. The proverb, "the pen is mightier than the sword," emphasizes the power of communication, intellect, and written words over physical force or violence. It suggests that ideas and diplomacy have a more profound and lasting impact than military strength. Kurt Weill's Die Dreigroschenoper, the Threepenny Opera, was based on which earlier work? The Beggar's Opera. Kurt Weill's Die Dreigroschenoper, with a libretto by Bertolt Brecht, is a seminal work of 20th-century musical theatre. It is a modern adaptation of John Gay's 18th-century English ballad opera, The Beggar's Opera, both works critically satirizing society and political corruption. What is the capital city of Namibia? Windhoek. Windhoek is the capital and largest city of Namibia, located in the central Khomas Highland Plateau. It serves as the primary social, economic, political, and cultural hub of the southern African nation. What event is known as the Haymarket Massacre of 1886? Chicago police fired on striking workers during a labor protest. The Haymarket Affair, or Haymarket Massacre, refers to the aftermath of a bombing at a labor demonstration on May 4, 1886, at Haymarket Square in Chicago. This event, which began as a peaceful rally for an 8-hour workday, resulted in a violent confrontation between striking workers and police, significantly impacting the international labor movement. If the sides of a triangle measure 5, 13, and 12, what is the angle defined by the sides which are 5 and 12? 90 degrees. This question refers to a right-angled triangle. According to the Pythagorean theorem, if the square of the longest side, hypotenuse, is equal to the sum of the squares of the other two sides, 5 to the power of 2 plus 12 to the power of 2 equals 25 plus 144 equals 169 equals 13 squared, then the angle between the two shorter sides, 5 and 12, is 90 degrees. Before 1949, by what name was Thailand known? Siam. Thailand was officially known as Siam until May 11, 1949, though the name was changed to Thailand briefly in 1939 as well. The name change to Thailand, meaning, land of the free, reflected the country's nationalistic aspirations and its historical independence. What caused the sinking of the British ship, the Royal Oak, on the night of 13 and 14 October 1939? Torpedoes from a submarine. The British battleship HMS Royal Oak was sunk by torpedoes from the German U-boat U-47, commanded by Gunther Prien, during World War II. This daring attack occurred while the Royal Oak was anchored in Scapa Flow, the main British naval base, resulting in a significant loss of life. On the 24th of July 2010, at least 19 people were killed and 100 others injured in a stampede at which music festival in Duisburg, Germany? Love Parade. The Love Parade disaster occurred at the Techno Music Festival in Duisburg, Germany, on July 24, 2010. A mass panic and crush led to the deaths of 21 people and injuries to over 500, prompting the permanent cancellation of the festival. Which constellation, that lies between Taurus to the west and the dim Cancer to the east, with Auriga and Lynx to the north and Monoceros and Canis Minor to the south, is associated with the myth of Castor and Pollux, collectively known as the Dioscuri? Gemini. Gemini is one of the 12 constellations of the zodiac, visible in the northern hemisphere. Its name means twins in Latin, referring to the mythological twin brothers Castor and Pollux, figures from Greek and Roman mythology. The term checkmate is based on a phrase from which language? Persian. The term checkmate in chess originates from the Persian phrase shahmat, which translates to the king is helpless or the king is dead. This etymology highlights the game's historical roots in ancient Persia and India. In the SI system, what is the basic unit for the measurement of electric current? Ampere. The ampere, A, is the SI base unit of electric current, named after French mathematician and physicist André-Marie Ampère. It is defined by the fixed numerical value of the elementary charge, E, when expressed in the unit C, which is equal to a dot operator S. The words of the national anthem for which country were written by Francis Scott Key? USA. Francis Scott Key, an American lawyer, wrote the lyrics to The Star-Spangled Banner during the War of 1812 after witnessing the bombardment of Fort McHenry. It was officially adopted as the national anthem of the United States in 1931. Which set of 19 piano pieces based on folk themes were composed by Franz Liszt between 1846 and 1885 and named after his homeland? The Hungarian Rhapsodies. Franz Liszt, a renowned Hungarian composer, created the Hungarian Rhapsodies. These 19 solo piano pieces are celebrated for their virtuosic demands and integration of Hungarian folk melodies, reflecting his national pride and drawing from the Verbenkoz style. In depictions of the Hindu god Rama, he is famously holding what in his right hand? Bow and arrow. Lord Rama, a principal deity of Hinduism and the seventh avatar of Vishnu, is typically depicted holding a bow and arrow. This iconography symbolizes his martial prowess, righteousness, and role as a protector against evil, as narrated in the epic Ramayana. Christian Huygens has been credited with inventing what in the 1650s? Pendulum clock. Christian Huygens, a prominent Dutch mathematician, physicist, and astronomer, invented the pendulum clock in 1656. His design significantly improved timekeeping accuracy and was based on Galileo Galilei's earlier studies of pendulums, making precise scientific measurements possible. Pulmonary refers to which organ? Lungs. The term pulmonary is derived from the Latin word pulmonarius, meaning of the lungs. It is used in medical and biological contexts to refer to anything related to the lungs, such as pulmonary circulation or pulmonary diseases. Gibraltar was ceded to the UK by Spain in 1713, and although now semi-autonomous is still under UK government, it has been a strategic advantage to the UK at a number of times, which is not one of these. During the Spanish Civil War 1820-23, Gibraltar was ceded to Great Britain by Spain in 1713 under the Treaty of Utrecht, securing its strategic importance for the UK. While vital in many conflicts, the Spanish Civil War occurred from 1936 to 1939, not 1820-23, making the latter an anachronistic option. Who of these is supposedly buried in the town of Santiago de Compostela, in northwestern Spain? Saint James. Santiago de Compostela is renowned as the supposed burial place of Saint James the Great, one of Jesus's apostles. This makes it a major pilgrimage destination in Christianity, particularly famous for the Camino de Santiago, Way of Saint James. What does the constellation Vulpecula mean? Little Fox. Vulpecula is a faint constellation in the northern sky, whose name means little fox in Latin. It was introduced by the Polish astronomer Johannes Hevelius in the 17th century and is notable for containing the Dumbbell Nebula, M27. Which organization, involved in the 1980s scandal concerning the 1982 $3.5 billion collapse of Banco Ambrosiano, was accused by a U.S. government report of funding the Polish trade union Solidarity and the Contras, managing U.S. covered funds, and has faced multiple money laundering investigations into the 2010s? The Institute for Works of Religion, Vatican Bank. The Institute for Works of Religion, commonly known as the Vatican Bank, has a history of financial controversies, most notably its involvement in the Banco Ambrosiano scandal in the 1980s. This institution has been subject to scrutiny for alleged money laundering and its historical role in managing covert funds for political operations. Macadamia is a type of what? Nut. Macadamia refers to the genus of trees native to Australia and their edible seeds, commonly known as macadamia nuts. These nuts are prized for their rich, buttery flavor and high monounsaturated fat content. What is the most populous city in Africa? Cairo. Cairo, the capital city of Egypt, is widely considered the most populous city in Africa, situated on the Nile River. It is a major political, economic, and cultural center for the Middle East and Africa. Whose followers initiated a rising in 1745, capturing Edinburgh, defeating the government army at the Battle of Prestonpans in Scotland, advancing into England as far as Derby, but ultimately suffering defeat by the Duke of Cumberland at the Battle of Culloden on the 16th of April 1746? Charles Edward Stuart, Bonnie Prince Charlie. Charles Edward Stuart, known as Bonnie Prince Charlie, led the Jacobite Rising of 1745, aiming to restore the Stuart monarchy to the British throne. Despite initial successes, the rebellion was decisively crushed at the Battle of Culloden, marking the end of the Jacobite cause. What does tour de force mean? An exceptional creative achievement. Tour de force is a French loan phrase literally meaning feat of strength. In English, it is used to describe an exceptional creative achievement or a masterly performance that demonstrates great skill, ingenuity, or brilliance. It implies a demanding task executed with impressive expertise. Who is associated with the phrase, history is bunk? Henry Ford. Henry Ford, the American industrialist and founder of the Ford Motor Company, is famously associated with the quote, history is more or less bunk. He reportedly made this statement in 1916, reflecting his pragmatic focus on the future and production rather than past events. As of October 2011, approximately what percentage of the Earth's land surface is covered by ice? 10%. Ice, primarily in the form of glaciers and ice sheets in polar regions and high mountains, covers roughly 10% of the Earth's total land surface. These ice masses play a crucial role in the global climate system, impacting sea levels and reflecting solar radiation. In which famous musical composition by Tchaikovsky does the French national anthem appear? 1812 Overture. Pyotr Ilyich Tchaikovsky's 1812 Overture famously incorporates the melody of La Marseillaise, the French national anthem. This inclusion is used to symbolize the retreating French army during Napoleon's disastrous invasion of Russia in 1812, which the overture commemorates dramatically. Who composed the music for the ballet, Swan Lake? Tchaikovsky. Swan Lake is one of the most iconic and enduring classical ballets, with its magnificent score composed by Pyotr Ilyich Tchaikovsky. Premiered in 1877, its music is celebrated for its dramatic power, melodic beauty, and sophisticated orchestration, making it a cornerstone of the ballet repertoire. What is a specific learning disability characterized by an innate difficulty in learning or comprehending mathematics, analogous to dyslexia? Dyscalculia. Dyscalculia is a specific learning disorder that affects an individual's ability to understand and process numerical information, similar to how dyslexia affects reading. It can manifest in difficulties with arithmetic, number sense, and mathematical reasoning, impacting academic and daily life. On which island are the early kings of Scotland traditionally buried? Iona. The Isle of Iona, located in the Inner Hebrides off the west coast of Scotland, is a historically and religiously significant site. It served as a sacred burial ground for early Scottish kings, including some from Dalriada, and later for kings of Norway and Ireland, owing to its importance as an early Christian monastic centre founded by Saint Columba. What island is locally known as Kerkra? Corfu. Kerkra is the Greek name for the island of Corfu, one of the most popular and historically rich islands in the Ionian Sea. Located off the northwest coast of Greece and Albania, Corfu is known for its Venetian architecture, lush landscapes, and significant cultural heritage. What region lies mainly in the Dinaric Alps, ranging to the southern borders of the Pannonian Plain, with the rivers Sava and Drina marking its northern and eastern borders? Bosnia. Bosnia is a nation in southeast Europe, predominantly located in the Dinaric Alps. Its geographical boundaries are defined by the Sava River to the north and the Drina River to the east, bordering the Pannonian Plain. The word plagiarism comes from the Latin word meaning what? Kidnapping. The term plagiarism originates from the Latin word plagiarius, which literally means kidnapper or abductor. This etymology highlights the idea of stealing someone else's work or ideas and presenting them as one's own, akin to abducting their intellectual property. What is the literal translation of the Russian word Kremlin? Fortress. The Russian word Kremlin literally translates to fortress or citadel. This term is used to describe a fortified complex found in many historic Russian cities, most famously the Moscow Kremlin, which serves as the official residence of the President of Russia. What was the subtitle of the 1904 play, Peter Pan, by J. M. Barrie? The Boy Who Wouldn't Grow Up. J. M. Barrie's classic 1904 play, Peter Pan, carries the full title Peter Pan, or The Boy Who Wouldn't Grow Up. This subtitle encapsulates the central theme of the story, exploring childhood innocence, escapism, and the desire to avoid the responsibilities of adulthood. Which playwright wrote the plays that won the Tony Award for Best Play in 1963 and 2002 and the Pulitzer Prize for Drama in 1967, 1975 and 1994, and gained nominations for Tony Award for Best Play in 1964, 1965, 1967 and 1975, Tony Award for Best Author of a Play in 1965, the Pulitzer Prize for Drama in 2001 and 2003 and a Tony Award for Best Revival of a Play in 2005? Edward Albee. Edward Albee was a critically acclaimed American playwright, celebrated for his intense and often disturbing examinations of modern life. His significant contributions to theater were recognized with 3 Pulitzer Prizes for Drama, for A Delicate Balance, Seascape, and 3 Tall Women, and 2 Tony Awards for Best Play. Who was sent by the African Association in 1795 to find the source of the river Niger? Mungo Park. Mungo Park was a Scottish explorer who became the first Westerner to travel to the central portion of the Niger River. He was dispatched by the African Association in 1795 to map the course of the river and investigate its source, making significant contributions to European knowledge of West African geography. The French and what other nation sent colonists to New Zealand in the 1830s? Great Britain. During the 1830s, both Great Britain and France showed interest in colonizing New Zealand. While French colonization efforts were less successful and eventually ceased, Great Britain formally annexed New Zealand in 1840 with the signing of the Treaty of Waitangi, establishing it as a British colony. How many US states do not border another US state? 2. The 2 US states that do not border any other US state are Alaska and Hawaii. Alaska shares a land border with Canada, and Hawaii is an island state located in the Pacific Ocean. Francis Drake captained the ship, Revenge, during naval engagements concerning what? The Spanish Armada. Sir Francis Drake was a prominent English seaman and privateer who played a crucial role in the English victory over the Spanish Armada in 1588. He commanded the ship, Revenge, during these decisive naval engagements, marking a significant event in British naval history. What caused Richard I of England to be out of the country between 1190 and 1194, when his younger brother John tried to take control? The Third Crusade. Richard I, famously known as Richard the Lionheart, was largely absent from England during this period due to his participation in the Third Crusade. His prolonged involvement in crusading efforts in the Holy Land created a power vacuum, which his younger brother, Prince John, attempted to exploit. Who is Rome's airport named after? Leonardo da Vinci. Rome's principal international airport is officially known as Leonardo da Vinci International Airport, located in Fiumicino. It is named in honor of the celebrated Italian polymath Leonardo da Vinci, renowned for his immense contributions across art, science, and invention. In Euclidean geometry, what is the definition of a triangle? A two-dimensional plane determined by any 3 points. In Euclidean geometry, a triangle is a fundamental polygon comprising 3 edges and 3 vertices. It is defined as a two-dimensional figure formed by connecting 3 non-collinear points with straight line segments. Where was the Maccabean Bridge collapse, the failure of a pedestrian bridge over the Yarkoum River on the 14th of July 1997 which killed 4 and injured 60? Tel Aviv, Israel. The Maccabean Bridge collapse occurred during the opening ceremony of the 15th Maccabean Games in Tel Aviv, Israel, on July 14, 1997. The structural failure of a temporary pedestrian bridge resulted in 4 fatalities and 60 injuries, exacerbated by exposure to the polluted Yarkoum River water. Who is the author of the 2009 political memoir, Going Rogue? Sarah Palin. Going Rogue, An American Life, is a political memoir published in 2009 by Sarah Palin, who served as the governor of Alaska and was the Republican vice presidential nominee in 2008. The book details her life, political career, and experiences on the national political stage. What is the name of the lighthouse off the coast of Angus at the mouth of the Firth of Tay, which is also called Bell Rock? Inchcape. The Bell Rock Lighthouse, also known as Inchcape Lighthouse, is the world's oldest surviving sea-washed lighthouse. It was constructed between 1807 and 1810 by Robert Stevenson on the Inchcape Rock in the North Sea, off the coast of Angus, Scotland. During World War II, Operation Sea Lion was the codename for the invasion of which area? Britain. Operation Sea Lion was Nazi Germany's unexecuted plan for an amphibious invasion of the United Kingdom during World War II. The invasion was contingent on the Luftwaffe achieving air superiority over the Royal Air Force, which it failed to do during the Battle of Britain. The last element to be discovered in nature, rather than synthesized, was discovered in 1939. What was it? Francium. Francium, Fr, is a highly radioactive alkali metal and the second rarest naturally occurring element in Earth's crust. It was discovered by Marguerite Perret in 1939 at the Curie Institute in Paris, making it the last element identified from natural sources. What larger work by Edward Elgar includes the piece of music known as Nimrod? The Enigma Variations. Nimrod is one of the most famous movements from Edward Elgar's Enigma Variations, officially known as Variations on an Original Theme for Orchestra, Opus 36. Composed between 1898 and 1899, it consists of 14 variations on an original theme, each depicting a friend or colleague of the composer. In which country did a suicide bombing occur in Taksim Square on the 31st of October 2010, resulting in at least 32 injuries, including 15 police officers? Turkey, specifically, Istanbul. A suicide bombing occurred in Istanbul's Taksim Square on October 31, 2010, injuring over 30 people, primarily police officers. The Kurdistan Freedom Hawks, TUK, an offshoot of the PKK, claimed responsibility for the attack. What country has borders with Libya, Sudan, and Israel? Egypt. Egypt is strategically located in North Africa and the Middle East, bordering Libya to the west, Sudan to the south, and Israel to the northeast. It also shares maritime borders with several countries in the Mediterranean and Red Seas. With which country is the bouzouki musical instrument most associated? Greece. The bouzouki is a long-necked plucked string instrument of the lute family, originating in Greece. It is a fundamental instrument in Greek traditional music, particularly in rebetiko and laiko genres, and is a symbol of Greek musical heritage. What is the world's longest traffic tunnel, railway or road? The Seikan Tunnel, connecting the Japanese islands of Honshu and Hokkaido. The Seikan Tunnel in Japan is the second longest railway tunnel in the world, with a significant undersea section. Completed in 1988, it connects the islands of Honshu and Hokkaido, playing a crucial role in Japan's transportation infrastructure. What is the word for a male turkey? Tom. In zoology, a male turkey is commonly referred to as a tom or gobbler due to the characteristic gobble sound they make. Female turkeys are called hens, and young turkeys are known as poults. What is the primary ingredient in yellow cake? Uranium, specifically uranium oxides. Yellow cake is a form of uranium concentrate powder, typically consisting of a mixture of uranium oxides. It is an intermediate product in the processing of uranium ores, used as a precursor in the enrichment process for nuclear fuel and weapons. What is the basic design of the new state flag adopted by the Republic of the Union of Myanmar on the 21st of October 2010 to replace the former flag that had been in use since 1974? Yellow, green and red horizontal stripes with a 5-pointed white star in the middle. Myanmar adopted its current national flag on October 21, 2010, replacing a design used since 1974. The new flag features 3 horizontal stripes in yellow, green, and red, with a large white 5-pointed star in the center, symbolizing solidarity, peace, tranquility, and courage. What is a word game where paragraphs are written in which a particular letter or group of letters is omitted? Lipogram. A lipogram is a type of writing where a specific letter or set of letters is intentionally excluded from an entire text or section. This literary constraint challenges writers to demonstrate linguistic creativity and mastery while adhering to the imposed omission. The Ishtar Gate, constructed around 575 BC by order of King Nebuchadnezzar II, was a gate to which city? Babylon. The Ishtar Gate was the 8th gate to the inner city of Babylon, constructed around 575 BC during the reign of King Nebuchadnezzar II. It was dedicated to the Babylonian goddess Ishtar and was part of a grand processional way leading to the city's main temple, known for its vibrant blue glazed bricks and reliefs of lions and mythical creatures. What are the epic tales associated with Iceland traditionally called? Sagas. Sagas are epic prose narratives, predominantly written in Iceland during the 13th and 14th centuries, detailing historical and legendary events from ancient Norse and Germanic history. These rich literary works chronicle the voyages, battles, and family histories of Viking Age settlers in Iceland and their descendants, offering invaluable insights into Old Norse culture and society. The names of how many continents end with the same letter that they started with? 5. There are 5 continents whose names in English start and end with the same letter. Asia, AA, Africa, AA, Europe, EE, Antarctica, AA, and Australia, AA. This is a common general knowledge question often used to test geographical literacy. What was the name of the official news agency of the USSR before it broke up? TASS. TASS, Telegraph Agency of the Soviet Union, was the central news agency of the USSR, operating from 1925 until its dissolution in 1991. It served as the primary source of official information and propaganda, playing a significant role in shaping public opinion both domestically and internationally. Who has published Olympic Review and Revue Olympique since 1894, now an 84-page full-color glossy magazine that is issued quarterly? The International Olympic Committee. The International Olympic Committee, IOC, is the governing body of the Olympic movement. Since 1894, it has published Olympic Review and Revue Olympique, which serves as its official publication, documenting the history and developments within the Olympic movement and promoting Olympic values. Ashkenazic and Sephardic are the two divisions of what culture? Jewish. Ashkenazic and Sephardic refer to the two major cultural and ethnic divisions within the Jewish people. Ashkenazim originated from Central and Eastern Europe, while Sephardim have roots in the Iberian Peninsula, Spain and Portugal, and North Africa, marked by distinct historical experiences, languages, customs, and liturgical traditions. Which member of the UK Parliament and member of the IRA died on hunger strike while in prison at the Maze near Belfast in 1981? Bobby Sands. Bobby Sands was an Irish Republican volunteer who, as a member of the Provisional Irish Republican Army, IRA, led the 1981 hunger strike in Maze prison. He died after 66 days on hunger strike, gaining significant international attention and becoming a symbol of the Irish Republican cause during the Troubles. What is the name of a free improvisatory passage inserted near the end of a composition to create a feeling of suspense before the final cadence? Cadenza. A cadenza is a virtuosic, often improvisatory solo passage inserted into a concerto, aria, or other musical work. Typically appearing near the end of a movement before the final cadence, it allows the performer to showcase their technical skill and musical interpretation, creating a moment of heightened suspense and drama. Who painted Red Car Crash as a part of his 1962-63 Death and Disaster series? Andy Warhol. Andy Warhol was a leading figure in the pop art movement. His Death and Disaster series, created in the early 1960s, explored themes of mortality, violence, and sensationalism in modern media, often using silkscreen prints of newspaper clippings and photographs of accidents and tragedies. Which part of the cardamom plant is used as a spice? Seed. Cardamom is a widely used spice derived from the seeds of various plants in the ginger family, Zingiberaceae. The small, black seeds found within the green or black pods are the aromatic part that provides its distinctive flavor in culinary applications and traditional medicine. What is the currency used in Egypt, Syria and Lebanon? Pound. The currency known as the pound is used in several countries, including Egypt, Egyptian pound, Syria, Syrian pound, and Lebanon, Lebanese pound. While they share a common name, these are distinct national currencies with different values and symbols. What is the name for partially decayed vegetable matter that is dug up and used for fuel? Peat. Peat is an accumulation of partially decayed vegetation or organic matter that is unique to natural areas called peatlands, bogs, mires, moors, or muskegs. It forms when plant material does not fully decompose in acidic and anaerobic conditions, and it is traditionally harvested for use as a fuel source. The early use of the new technology of the wireless telegram helped British police to capture whom on the 31st of July 1910? Dr. Crippen. Dr. Holly Harvey Crippen was an American homeopath convicted of murdering his wife Cora Crippen in London. He attempted to escape by ship to Canada with his mistress, but the use of the newly developed wireless telegraph allowed police to communicate across the Atlantic, leading to his capture by detectives waiting upon his arrival. This marked one of the first times wireless technology was used to apprehend a criminal. Vermont, Rhode Island, Connecticut, Massachusetts, New Hampshire and Maine are collectively known as what? New England. New England is a historical region of the United States located in the northeastern part of the country, comprising 6 states, Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Connecticut. This region is known for its colonial history, maritime industries, and significant cultural and economic contributions to the nation. What is boiled in water to form gelatin? Collagen. Gelatin is a protein product derived from collagen, a structural protein found in the connective tissues of animals. When animal tissues containing collagen are boiled in water, the collagen undergoes hydrolysis, breaking down into smaller protein fragments that dissolve and form the semi-solid gel known as gelatin upon cooling. Neophobia is the fear of what? New things. Neophobia is an extreme or irrational fear or dislike of anything new or unfamiliar. It can manifest in various aspects of life, from trying new foods, food neophobia, to resisting new technologies or experiences, and is sometimes observed in children and animals. What is a voluntary association of mainly former British colonies that cooperate with common values and goals that include the promotion of democracy, human rights, good governance, the rule of law, individual liberty, egalitarianism, free trade, multilateralism and world peace? Commonwealth of Nations. The Commonwealth of Nations is a political association of 56 member states, most of which are former territories of the British Empire. Its core values include promoting democracy, human rights, and economic development among its diverse member countries. Until 1997, the Group of Eight, G8, a forum for powerful governments, was the G7. Which country was the last to join, making it G8? Russia. Russia joined the G7 in 1997, transforming it into the G8. However, following its annexation of Crimea in 2014, Russia was suspended from the group, which has since reverted to the G7 format. Who was the engineer and inventor of the noise reduction system known as Dolby NR and a co-inventor of videotape recording while at Ampex? Ray Dolby. Ray Dolby was an American electrical engineer and founder of Dolby Laboratories. He is celebrated for inventing the Dolby NR noise reduction system, which significantly improved audio recording quality, and also made key contributions to videotape recording technology. Which Indonesian volcano erupted in October-November 2010, forcing 70,000 people from their homes? Mount Merapi. Mount Merapi is one of Indonesia's most active stratovolcanoes, located on the border between central Java and Yogyakarta. Its major eruption in 2010 caused significant casualties and displacement, underscoring the geological hazards in the region. Which King of England was overthrown in the Glorious Revolution of 1688? James II. The Glorious Revolution of 1688 involved the overthrow of King James II of England by a union of English parliamentarians with the Dutch stadtholder William III. This event permanently established Parliament as the ruling power in England, setting a precedent for constitutional monarchy. Who served as a U.S. Senator for the state of New York from 2000 to 2008? Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton served as a U.S. Senator representing New York from 2001 to 2009. Prior to this, she was the First Lady of the United States, and later served as Secretary of State under President Barack Obama. The Oregon Treaty of 1846, which divided the Oregon Country along the 49th parallel, granted the USA land that later became parts of Montana and Wyoming, and the states of Washington, Oregon, and which other state? Idaho. The Oregon Treaty of 1846 resolved the Oregon boundary dispute between the United Kingdom and the United States, dividing the Oregon Country along the 49th parallel. This agreement added significant territory to the United States, which later formed the states of Washington, Oregon, and Idaho, along with parts of Montana and Wyoming. Tianhe-1A, the supercomputer at the National Supercomputer Center in Tianjin, China, which became the world's fastest supercomputer in October 2010, uses what operating system? Linux. Tianhe-1A was a significant milestone in supercomputing, demonstrating China's growing capabilities in high-performance computing. Like many supercomputers, it utilized the Linux operating system, favored for its flexibility, open-source nature, and ability to handle large-scale, complex computational tasks efficiently. What is the name for a forked twig used in dowsing to search for hidden substances like water or minerals? Divining rod. A divining rod, also known as a dowsing rod, is a forked branch or stick traditionally used in dowsing. While not scientifically proven, dowsing is a pseudoscientific practice aimed at locating underground water, minerals, or other hidden objects by detecting subtle energies. Before its official designation as Washington, D.C., after his death, what name did George Washington initially propose or use for the federal capital? Federal City. The area designated for the U.S. capital was initially known as the Federal City, or the Territory of Columbia, during George Washington's presidency. The formal name, Washington, D.C., was officially adopted after his death, honoring the first president and designating the District of Columbia. Where are the Huygens Gap and the Maxwell Gap located? Saturn. The Huygens Gap and the Maxwell Gap are prominent divisions within Saturn's ring system. These gaps are caused by gravitational interactions with Saturn's moons and exhibit complex dynamics, providing insights into the formation and evolution of planetary rings. What is the name of the stretch of water between India and Sri Lanka? Palk Strait. The Palk Strait is a strait between the Tamil Nadu state of India and the Mannar district of the northern province of Sri Lanka. It connects the Bay of Bengal in the northeast with the Palk Bay and then the Gulf of Mannar in the southwest. Its shallow waters make navigation difficult for large ships. In the UK in 1926, which occupational group's working conditions did the general strike attempt to improve? Coal miners. The UK general strike of 1926 was a major industrial dispute that lasted 9 days. It was called by the General Council of the Trades Union Congress, TUC, in an unsuccessful attempt to force the British government to act to prevent wage reductions and worsening conditions for coal miners. The Spanish throne had been vacant since 1936. On November 22, 1975, Juan Carlos was designated king. What event directly led to this designation? The death of General Franco. The death of General Francisco Franco on November 20, 1975, marked the end of his dictatorship in Spain. 2 days later, Juan Carlos I was proclaimed king, initiating Spain's transition to democracy, as Franco had designated him as his successor. Which island is known as the home to a breed of tailless cat? Isle of Man. The Isle of Man is renowned for its distinctive Manx cat, a breed known for its naturally occurring shortened tail, ranging from a mere stub to no tail at all. This genetic mutation is characteristic of the island's feline population. During World War I, US President Woodrow Wilson raised an army through conscription and granted total command to whom? General John J. Pershing. General John J. Pershing was the commander of the American Expeditionary Forces, AEF, on the Western Front during World War I. President Woodrow Wilson gave him full command of the US forces, allowing him to maintain them as a distinct fighting unit rather than integrating them into allied armies. What plant is the source of mescaline? Cactus. Mescaline is a naturally occurring psychedelic alkaloid derived from certain cacti species, most notably the peyote cactus, Lophophora williamsi, and San Pedro cactus, Echinopsis pachanoi. Its use has historical and cultural significance in indigenous traditions. In the 20th century, what year did Estonia first declare independence? 1918. Estonia first declared its independence on February 24, 1918, amidst the power vacuum created by World War I and the Russian Revolution. This declaration led to the Estonian War of Independence, ultimately securing its sovereignty. Who was responsible for the ransacking of much of northern Italy in 452 AD? Attila the Hun. Attila the Hun, leader of the Huns, led devastating campaigns across Europe in the 5th century AD. In 452 AD, he invaded Italy, ransacking numerous cities including Aquileia, Padua, and Verona, though he spared Rome after an appeal. Where is the Sea of Smith located? On the Moon. The Mare Smithi, commonly known as the Sea of Smith, is a lunar mare located along the eastern limb of the Moon. It is a large, dark basaltic plain formed by ancient volcanic eruptions, characterized by its distinct multi-ring basin structure. What type of speech includes the words for, and, no, but, or, yet, and, so? Conjunction. Conjunctions are parts of speech that connect words, phrases, or clauses. The words listed are coordinating conjunctions, often remembered by the acronym fanboys, which link elements of equal grammatical rank. The series of numbers obtained by adding the previous two together is named after whom? Fibonacci. The Fibonacci sequence is a series of numbers where each number is the sum of the two preceding ones, typically starting with 0 and 1. It is named after Leonardo Pisano, known as Fibonacci, who introduced it to Western European mathematics in his 1202 book Liber Abaci ***. What was the first name of Madame Tussaud, who founded a wax museum in London? Marie. Marie Tussaud was a French artist known for her wax sculptures and for founding Madame Tussaud's Wax Museum in London. Born in 1761, her work became a popular attraction, preserving historical figures and celebrities in wax. The city of Odessa is on which sea? Black Sea. Odessa is a major port city on the Black Sea coast of Ukraine. Its strategic location has historically made it a significant center for trade and culture in Eastern Europe, and it remains a vital maritime hub. What was the name of the English law court, subsequently abolished in 1641, that had a mandate from Henry VII to deal with nobles who were too powerful to be punished by ordinary courts? Star Chamber. The Star Chamber was an English court of law that sat at the Royal Palace of Westminster from the late 15th to mid-17th century. Known for its arbitrary and oppressive rulings, it was abolished by the Long Parliament in 1641 due to its perceived abuses of power and served as a symbol of royal overreach. What is the name for the 5 long bones in the foot that are numbered from the big toe, the first, second, third, fourth, and fifth, and are analogous to the metacarpal bones of the hand? Metatarsals. The metatarsals are a group of 5 long bones in the foot, located between the tarsal bones of the hind foot and the phalanges of the toes. They play a crucial role in weight bearing, balance, and propulsion during locomotion. An aster is a type of what? Plant. An aster is a genus of flowering plants in the family Asteraceae, which also includes daisies and sunflowers. They are characterized by their star-shaped flower heads and are commonly cultivated as ornamental plants, blooming primarily in late summer and autumn. What was the name of the line of fortification that ran across Italy during World War II from just north of where the Garigliano River flows into the Tyrrhenian Sea in the west, through the Apennine Mountains to the mouth of the Sangro River on the Adriatic coast in the east via Monte Cassino and Monte Cairo? Gustav Line. The Gustav Line was a series of German fortifications in Italy during World War II, constructed to hinder the Allied advance from southern Italy. It became the site of intense and prolonged fighting, most notably the Battle of Monte Cassino, which significantly delayed Allied forces for several months. What name is given to 7 mathematics problems stated by the Clay Mathematics Institute in 2000, for which a $1 million United States dollars prize will be awarded for a correct solution to any of them? The Millennium Prize Problems. The Millennium Prize Problems are a set of 7 highly challenging problems in mathematics announced by the Clay Mathematics Institute in 2000. A $1 million United States dollars prize is offered for the correct solution to each problem, aiming to highlight significant unsolved questions in the field. What land, a British colony for 155 years and occupied by Japan briefly in World War II, was ceded to the People's Republic of China in 1997? Hong Kong. Hong Kong was a British colony from 1841 until its handover to China on July 1, 1997. The transfer was based on the 1984 Sino-British Joint Declaration, establishing the one country, two systems principle for its governance as a special administrative region. What was the Giotto spacecraft sent to investigate in 1985? Halley's Comet. The Giotto spacecraft was a European Space Agency (ESA) mission launched in 1985 to study Halley's Comet. It was the first spacecraft to achieve a close encounter with the comet's nucleus, providing groundbreaking images and data about its composition and activity. What is the largest city in the province of New Brunswick, Canada? Saint John. Saint John is the largest city by population in the Canadian province of New Brunswick. Situated on the Bay of Fundy, it is a significant port city known for its industrial heritage and natural beauty. What is the name of the Jewish New Year festival? Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah is the Jewish New Year, observed for 2 days at the beginning of the Hebrew month of Tishri. It marks the start of the High Holy Days, a period of introspection and repentance, often celebrated with special prayers and traditional foods. An act passed on the 5th of July 1900 and given royal assent by Queen Victoria on the 9th of July 1900 led to what milestone in the constitutional history of Australia? Creation of the Commonwealth of Australia. The Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act 1900, passed by the British Parliament and assented to by Queen Victoria, led to the federation of the 6 self-governing British colonies into the Commonwealth of Australia. This historic event officially took place on January 1, 1901, establishing Australia as a unified nation under federal parliamentary democracy. On the 12th of November 1991, where in Delhi were pro-independence student demonstrators, protesting the Indonesian occupation of East Timor, shot at by Indonesian forces, killing at least 250? The Santa Cruz Cemetery. The Santa Cruz Massacre, which occurred on November 12, 1991, was a pivotal event in East Timor's struggle for independence. Indonesian forces opened fire on a procession of peaceful pro-independence demonstrators at the Santa Cruz Cemetery in Delhi. This brutal act, widely documented and condemned internationally, drew global attention to human rights abuses in East Timor and significantly impacted international support for its self-determination. What was the native language of Albert Einstein? German. Albert Einstein, the renowned theoretical physicist who developed the theory of relativity, was born in Ulm, Germany. Therefore, German was his native language. He later became a citizen of Switzerland and the United States, but his early education and foundational linguistic development occurred in German-speaking environments. Which member country of the Council of Europe has the smallest population? San Marino. San Marino is a microstate situated within Italy and is renowned as one of the world's oldest republics. As a member of the Council of Europe, it holds the distinction of having the smallest population among all member countries. Its tiny size and unique historical status make it a significant geopolitical curiosity. An imam is associated with which religion? Islam. An imam is an Islamic leadership position, primarily responsible for leading congregational prayers in mosques. The term also refers to a religious scholar or a respected community leader in Islam. In Shia Islam, the concept of imams holds a deeper theological significance, referring to infallible spiritual successors to Prophet Muhammad. What word denotes a summary or miniature form of something, and is also used as a synonym for embodiment? Epitome. The word epitome refers to a person or thing that perfectly represents a particular quality or type. It can also signify a summary or abstract of a larger work. Essentially, an epitome serves as a condensed, ideal, or quintessential example of something. When did people last walk on the moon? The 14th of December 1972. Humans last walked on the moon on December 14, 1972, during the Apollo 17 mission. This mission was the final lunar landing of the United States' Apollo program. Astronauts Eugene Cernan and Harrison Schmitt were the last two individuals to step onto the lunar surface, concluding an era of direct human exploration of the moon. Who succeeded Abraham Lincoln as U.S. President in 1865? Andrew Johnson. Andrew Johnson, as Vice President, automatically succeeded Abraham Lincoln after his assassination in April 1865. His presidency was dominated by the challenging period of Reconstruction after the American Civil War. The Iguazu Falls are on the border of which two countries? Brazil and Argentina. The Iguazu Falls are a magnificent system of waterfalls on the Iguazu River, situated on the border between Argentina and Brazil. They are a UNESCO World Heritage Site and a significant natural landmark in South America. What chemical element with atomic number 55 is a soft, silvery gold alkali metal with a melting point of 28 C, 83 F, and one of only 5 metals that are liquid at or near room temperature? Cesium. Cesium, Cs, is an alkali metal with atomic number 55, distinguished by its low melting point, making it liquid at or near room temperature. It is highly reactive and famously used in atomic clocks for its exceptional precision. What color connects the 29th of October 1929, the 19th of October 1987, and the 22nd of November 1963? Black. The color, black, links these dates to significant, often somber, historical events. October 29, 1929, is Black Tuesday, Great Depression stock market crash, and October 19, 1987, is Black Monday, another global stock market crash. November 22, 1963, marks the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, a dark day in modern history. What word is used to describe someone who speaks many languages? Polyglot. A polyglot is an individual who is able to speak or use several different languages. This term highlights proficiency across multiple linguistic systems. After her death on the 26th of July 1952, whose embalmed body was displayed in her office for almost 2 years, buried in a crypt in Milan, Italy, under the name Mara Maggie, exhumed in 1971 and flown to Spain, where her widower kept it in his home, and finally buried in the family tomb in Buenos Aires, Argentina in 1974. Eva Perón. This convoluted post-mortem journey belongs to Eva Perón, the influential First Lady of Argentina. Her embalmed body became a symbol of political power struggles and popular devotion, highlighting her lasting impact on Argentine history and national identity. In the Bible's book of Genesis, which of Jacob's sons was sold into slavery by his brothers? Joseph. The biblical account of Joseph is a significant narrative in the Old Testament, detailing his journey from slavery to becoming a high-ranking official in Egypt. This story is foundational in Abrahamic religions and teaches themes of forgiveness and divine providence. Which planet is named after the Greek god of the sky? Uranus. Uranus is the seventh planet from the Sun and the third largest by diameter. It is uniquely named after the Greek primordial deity of the sky, Ouranos, distinguishing it from other planets named after Roman deities. When was the International Criminal Court, ICC, officially based in The Hague in the Netherlands, established? 2002. The International Criminal Court, ICC, was established in 2002 by the Rome Statute. Headquartered in The Hague, Netherlands, its primary mandate is to prosecute individuals for international crimes such as genocide, war crimes, crimes against humanity, and the crime of aggression. The symptoms for which poisoning include seizures, a sawhorse stance, rigid extension of all four limbs, and respiratory paralysis. Strychnine. Strychnine is a highly toxic alkaloid that primarily affects the central nervous system. It acts as an antagonist of glycine and acetylcholine receptors, leading to severe muscular convulsions, rigidity, and ultimately respiratory arrest due to overstimulation of motor neurons. Early raids by British commando units between March 1941 and April 1943, operations, Claymore, Anklet, Archery, Musketoon, and Checkmate, destroyed fish oil factories, petrol dumps, sank ships, damaged factories and warehouses, resulted in permanent closure of a hydroelectric power plant and an aluminium plant, and captured German troops, encryption equipment, and codebooks. Where were they carried out? Norway. These British commando raids were part of World War II efforts to disrupt German war infrastructure and operations, particularly focusing on targets along the Norwegian coast. The raids were crucial for gathering intelligence, testing commando tactics, and maintaining pressure on the Axis powers. Where were the 2012 Paralympics held? London, UK. The 2012 Summer Paralympics were held in London, United Kingdom, immediately following the Olympic Games. These games showcased athletic excellence and promoted inclusivity for athletes with disabilities on an international stage, leaving a significant legacy for disability sports. Leaders in a Cub Scout pack are named after the characters in which book? The Jungle Book, by Rudyard Kipling. The Cub Scout movement draws heavily on Rudyard Kipling's The Jungle Book for its themes and terminology. Leaders are often named after characters like Akela, the wolf pack leader, and Baloo, the bear, fostering a sense of adventure and mentorship within the organization. Whose famous painting, The Potato Eaters, is of 5 peasants sitting down to dinner? Vincent van Gogh. The Potato Eaters is an early masterpiece by Vincent van Gogh, painted in 1885. This work depicts the harsh reality of peasant life in Nijmegen, Netherlands, and is notable for its dark palette and sympathetic portrayal of the figures. The Volta River flows from central Ghana to where? Gulf of Guinea. The Volta River is a major river system in West Africa, flowing through Ghana and forming the Lake Volta Reservoir. It empties into the Gulf of Guinea, an arm of the Atlantic Ocean, playing a crucial role in regional ecosystems and human settlements. In 1939, how did German Erich Vossitz make history? Flew a jet plane. Erich Vossitz made history on August 27, 1939, by piloting the world's first turbojet-powered aircraft, the Heinkel He 178. This pioneering flight demonstrated the feasibility of jet propulsion, revolutionizing aviation technology and paving the way for modern jet aircraft. Who opened a clothing shop together at 430 King's Road, Chelsea, London in 1971? Malcolm McLaren and Vivienne Westwood. Malcolm McLaren and Vivienne Westwood's shop at 430 King's Road, which evolved through various names, became a seminal hub for the punk rock movement in the 1970s. Their designs and influence were instrumental in shaping the aesthetic and ideology of punk, leaving a lasting impact on fashion and youth culture. What is the name of a family of satellites launched since 1995 and operated by Eutelsat, located at 13e over the equator, orbital position, with a transmitting footprint over Europe, North Africa and the Middle East? Hotbird. Hotbird is a family of geostationary communication satellites operated by Eutelsat, positioned at 13 degrees east longitude. These satellites provide broadcasting services for television, radio, and data across Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East, making them crucial for regional telecommunications. By what name is William Thomson better known? Lord Kelvin. William Thomson, renowned for his extensive work in thermodynamics, electricity, and mathematics, is better known as Lord Kelvin. He formulated the Kelvin scale of absolute temperature and contributed significantly to the second law of thermodynamics, making fundamental advancements in physics. The blend of tea known as Earl Grey was named after someone in what profession? British Prime Minister. Earl Grey tea is named after Charles Grey, 2nd Earl Grey, who served as the British Prime Minister from 1830 to 1834. The distinctive blend, flavored with bergamot oil, became popular and is widely associated with him, although the exact origins of its naming are subject to historical debate. In 1963, US President Kennedy sanctioned a coup d'état in which country to overthrow Ngo Dinh Diem, the Roman Catholic president, by his own army generals? South Vietnam. In November 1963, US President John F. Kennedy sanctioned a military coup in South Vietnam, leading to the overthrow and assassination of President Ngo Dinh Diem. This event destabilized the South Vietnamese government, intensified US involvement in the region, and is considered a critical juncture in the escalation of the Vietnam War. In which US Senate election were all senators popularly elected for the first time? 1914. The 17th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, ratified in 1913, established the direct election of senators by popular vote. This marked a significant shift from the previous system where state legislatures chose senators, with the first popular elections for all senators occurring in 1914. The discovery of what Earth-like planet, considered to have the greatest potential for harboring life found so far, was announced in late September 2010. Gliese 581 grams. Gliese 581 grams was announced in 2010 as one of the most promising exoplanets for habitability due to its location within the star's habitable zone. While its existence was later debated, the announcement sparked significant interest in the search for extraterrestrial life. Which country declared war on Mexico on the 13th of May 1846? USA. The United States declared war on Mexico on May 13, 1846, following a border dispute and a skirmish in the contested territory. This conflict, known as the Mexican-American War, led to significant territorial gains for the US, including California and New Mexico. In what month is Thanksgiving celebrated in the USA? November. Thanksgiving is a national holiday celebrated in the United States on the fourth Thursday of November. It commemorates the harvest festival shared between the Wampanoag people and the Pilgrims in 1621, symbolizing gratitude and community. When was the period of English history known as the Anarchy, or the 19-year winter? 12th century. The Anarchy was a civil war in England and Normandy between 1135 and 1153, characterized by a breakdown of law and order. It was a succession crisis between King Stephen and Empress Matilda over the English throne, leaving the kingdom in turmoil. Muesli was developed around 1900 by Swiss physician Maximilian Bircher-Benner to feed whom? Hospital patients. Dr. Maximilian Bircher-Benner, a Swiss physician, developed muesli around 1900 as a health food for his hospital patients. He believed in the healing power of raw foods and a diet rich in fruits, nuts, and grains for overall well-being and recovery. What term describes a substance that can exist in multiple forms, exhibiting variations in physical properties rather than chemical properties? Allotropic. Allotropy refers to the property of certain chemical elements to exist in two or more different forms, known as allotropes, in the same physical state. These allotropes exhibit distinct physical properties due to differences in their atomic arrangement and bonding. Whose unified field theory was an attempt to explain the four fundamental forces of nature as manifestations of a single, overarching force? Einstein. Albert Einstein devoted much of his later life to developing a unified field theory, aiming to consolidate the fundamental forces, gravity, electromagnetism, strong nuclear force, and weak nuclear force, into a single theoretical framework. Despite his efforts, a complete and universally accepted unified field theory remains elusive.